So cute. Hey friends and book lovers, welcome back. Today's video will be me discussing the very small amount of books that I read in the month of February. February was personally a very awful month for me. It was it was just bad. It was really bad. And throughout all of that, I did read some thick books, but I didn't read many books. And you'd think when something bad happens that all you want to do is escape into a book, which did happen a couple times, but it is hard to concentrate. And I also had a surgery that month. I had my wisdom tooth surgery, so of course all I wanted to do was like sleep and rest, and I just didn't have the full comfort of reading a book while I was in pain, so there was that. But all to say that I was going through some things and I didn't get through all the books that I wanted to get through, so that kind of makes me a little sad. But I did get through some main ones that I will be talking with you guys today. So this month I read 4 books, like I just said. I had 1 5-star read, and I think the rest of them were all 3.5-star reads. I know that it's a strange number to have all 3 be 3.5, but they weren't just 3 stars and they weren't quite 4 stars. So I feel like I'm gonna put them all at 3.5 stars, and I will start off with those, and then we will talk about the 5-star read, which I'm sure that you already know what it will be, but here we are. We'll talk about it later. The first book that I will talk to you about is Shadow and Bone, and actually this is not a 3.5 star, this is a 3 star. I rated this 3 stars. I thought it was really enjoyable. It's really fun, it's fluffy, it's easy to read, it was great fun, and it took me less than a day to read it. So it was great. I'm starting the series, as many of you know, in anticipation of the Netflix series that's coming out in April, which is based on this trilogy and based on the Six of Crow duology. I do want to read these before that comes out because I know that as soon as I start watching the show, I'm gonna lose interest in reading the books. It's very hard for me to read the book after I watch the show, but I can easily read a book and then watch the show. So I started off with Shadow and Bone in February, and it was really fun. I can see why people really like this trilogy. I don't think it's anything that I'm absolutely in love with, but I do think it's enjoyable, and I think if I was in the younger age range, maybe like 16, 17 when it first came out, I probably would have just been totally sucked into it. I am reading the second one right now, and I'm enjoying that one too, although I think this one is better than the second one. I think from what I've heard, either way, the second one is the weakest one. But this one was really fun to read. If you haven't read this series, but you want to watch the Netflix show, I do recommend reading the series first, because why not? It's easy to find a copy, and it's pretty. I like these new covers. I think they're pretty. The next one that I read was Wildcat by J.P. Harker, and this one I was surprised at where the book took us. I thought it was going to really be about this woman's entry into motherhood and into her marriage after being a warrior for so long, which is what the synopsis really tells you. But that is really the bare minimum. This book was a journey. It took you on a journey. However, I rated it 3.5 stars because it is a fantasy novel. I do wish that there was more magic involved in it. I think all my fantasies that I really love have a lot of magic, but I think this magic system might become more apparent in later books in the series, so I think that's one thing that will happen. Hello. I think my cat just got jealous that I'm talking to the camera and that I'm not talking to him, so he came over to sniff my books and say hello. But yes, I think the magic system in this book will definitely come out in the later books, which I do want to read because there are some characters' interactions that I have seen in this book that I think might flourish in the second book, so I at least definitely want to read the second book at some point and see what the fuss is about. I've also heard that the later books in this quartet or in this series, it's 4 books right now, but it might end up being longer. I'm not 100% sure, but I do think the second one is supposed to be better, and I have heard folks say that the later books in the trilogy are really good, even better than this one. There was some pacing issues in this one too. I felt like we sat a lot in certain villages and certain towns, and the story didn't move forward. It was a lot of interactions that could have been shortened to create more of the plot that we were going to go against, and then there were short parts of the book that were very, very action-packed. So I'm glad I read it. I do want to read the second one, but I do think that the issues in this book for me are definitely pacing issues and magic system issues. I did like certain character interactions. I like that most of the characters were morally gray. I definitely enjoyed the world building and the talk of the different kinds of gods and different kinds of cultures a lot. So that was really, really fun and interesting. And yeah, this was the buddy read for the shelf published for February, and I would say overall a fun read and a good pick by the team. I think most folks did enjoy it, and there are definitely some shocking moments in this book, so watch out for those. The next one I finished was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This was a buddy read on Books with V's channel as well, and one that I want to read this year, so I thought why not tackle it in February. This one had recently just come out, and let me tell you, all the editions are super, super stunning. I love this edition. It even comes with like a little bookmark, little cloth bookmark, which I love too. I was really expecting this to be a 5-star read for me, but as much as I enjoyed the writing, and V. Schwab's writing in this book was absolutely stunning, it didn't have a lot of movement and action. And I also felt like, at least for one of the characters, our main character that we follow, she doesn't have a lot of development as a character. And for someone that's living for eternity, you would think that all the time that she has changes her in some way, even if it's for the worse. I just want something to change, but nothing of her changed, and that to me seems unrealistic. We dive so much into her psychology and into her journey that you would think that all these moments that we're looking at would really significantly impact her in some way, and it just didn't in the way that I was craving from this book. I think it had so much potential, and I think it was a little bit lackluster for me. However, there are some folks that really, really love this, and I can see why. I just felt like I wanted more from this. The writing style was so beautiful, the setup was so beautiful, some of the characters' interactions were so beautiful that I felt like we got to this beautiful height, and then there was like it was anticlimactic is what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to describe it in like a better way, and there isn't any better way. It just felt anticlimactic. And what I also didn't enjoy was the ending. The ending to me felt petty. And again, it goes along with the character development in the story. I just really didn't like that ending. I was like, really? This? Like, I just was hoping for something better. It doesn't have to be a happy ending for me to like it, but this ending just felt petty. So it's a 3.5 stars. I want to give it a 4, but I don't think I will be giving it a 4. But again, a lot of other folks gave this book a 5 stars. They loved it. I found it really enjoyable, but I know that they absolutely loved it. And of course, the last one is one that if you know me, you know that I read in February, and you know that I was anticipating it like there was no tomorrow. And that is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, which is the 4th book in the Equitar series. Some people say it's the 5th book, but the novella for me isn't like a full number. It's like a 3.2 or 3.1. So this is definitely the 4th book in the series. So obviously, I'm a Nesta fan. I loved this book. I'm a huge Cassian fan, so I love this book that much more. I do see the criticisms in this, and I agree with some of them, like the plot wasn't as fleshed out as the original trilogy, and that it was very smut heavy. Personally, I love the smut heaviness, and also personally, I kind of didn't think that there was going to be much of a plot to this anyways. I really thought it was going to be Nesta's story and then Cassian's story with Nesta, and maybe like some kind of soft plot for that, which is kind of what we got, but I think the soft plot tried to be a hard plot and it wasn't. So that might be why people didn't really love it as much as I did. However, I really loved this story. There were so many heartfelt moments. There were so many times where I had to like stop and catch my breath because, oh my gosh, it was just so incredible and so amazing. It was so good. And the smut for this is so good. Sarah J. Maas definitely went there, and she definitely did a good job of going there, but she definitely goes there in this book so much more than I think any other book I've read. I haven't read Crescent City in its entirety yet, so I don't know if that gets any smuttier than this one, but this one is definitely, is dirty. And again, with the plot, which I can understand, I didn't love the subplot of Farah and Rhysand in this book and what happens there, and I didn't love the ending with Nesta and Farah and all that happens there, but I understand why it had to be done for certain things to work the way they did. I just wish that the sub-story to get Cassian and Nesta to places and Nesta to certain places was done with a different story and not the story that Sarah J. Maas used, because it does seem a little bit far-fetched, but it's a beautiful book and Cassie and Nesta are amazing in it. I will reread this very, very soon because for that story, this is phenomenal. But for certain other small points that I said before, it bothered me. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of this one, if you have any differing opinions or if there's other problems that you felt you had and that we haven't talked about yet, because I'm curious to see what everyone else thought. I've watched a lot of vlogs, a lot of spoiler-free videos, a lot of spoiler videos, a lot of chats about this book, so I've gotten a good sense so far of what everyone thinks. And of course, I had the biggest book hangover after I read this novel as well, so of course I was stuck in the Reddit threads and just patiently waiting for my friends to finish this, because I think I was among one of the first to just get this knocked out of the park. I hope you enjoyed this rambling, chaotic wrap-up of my February reads. I didn't read as much as I wanted to, but I'm hoping that March will be a better month for me. I am already enjoying all the books that I'm reading in the month of March, so I think it's going to be a good one. If you've read any of the books that I mentioned here today, please let me know in the comments below. I always want to hear your thoughts. And if you like this video, please give it a like. That really helps support my channel and my content. And if you like this video and my other content, please do not hesitate to subscribe, since that really helps me as well.